up the value chain. Otherwise, new players from regional ASEAN countries with lower cost bases than us will step in to fill that space. The global semiconductor market, fueled by an AI infrastructure boom, is approaching US dollars 975 billion in annual sales this year, and will likely breach the US dollar 1 trillion mark in 2027, earlier than expected. To capture a meaningful share of this growing market, Malaysians will need to continue developing strong homegrown IC design capabilities. Credits must be given to the government, who has recognized this urgency. The National Semiconductor Strategy, launched in May 2024, is committed to shift local semiconductor industry from back-end assembly tests to high-value front-end activities, including IC design and advanced packaging. The NSS has set a target of nurturing 10 Malaysian companies in IC design and advanced packaging to at least 1 billion ringgit in revenue. This is the government acknowledging that Malaysia's future is in this industry, and it lies owning IPs and not just in manufacturing. Other than the government's matching grants, the creation of IC design parks, the My Chip Start program, and the Advanced Packaging Technology Institute and Research Center lay the foundation work for an ecosystem that allow Malaysian companies to compete at the highest level. But the policy can only create the conditions. It is the companies that must rise to meet them. The listing of SkyChip serves as a clear evidence that Malaysia company has the capability to compete on the global stage, secure institutional capital, and establish itself as a credible and scalable business for investors. As SkyChip prepares for the listing on the main board of Bursa Malaysia, the focus will remain on three mandates. First, value creation. SkyChip will continue to invest in R&D, expanding its silicon IP portfolio and developing the next generation custom ASICs that address the world's most demanding compute and AI workloads. Second, value capture. Translating that innovation into revenue, higher margin, and to long-term returns for our shareholders. SkyChip has built an IP portfolio with proven market demand since inception and will continue to do so. Every solution we design is built to win contracts, to scale commercially, and to deliver measurable financial returns. Third, and perhaps most importantly, strengthening the broader semiconductor ecosystem. SkyChip's success was never meant to be ours alone. As we grow, we intend to deepen partnerships with Malaysian universities, uplift local supply chain players, and demonstrate to the next generation of engineers and founders that world-class semiconductor companies can be built from Malaysian soil.
Today's launch of the SkyChip Prospectus feels particularly significant. We are witnessing the rise of Malaysia's high-tech innovation on the global stage. Ladies and gentlemen, for the past few years, we have seen Nasdaq going from strength to strength, despite COVID, despite wars, but they continue to rise. Past 10 years, Nasdaq has gone up more than 400%. Malaysia has the potential to be there, but we need companies like SkyChip, who has high complexity, who innovate, who do R&D, who have IPs, who are the technology-driven company. These are the things that is needed in Malaysia's stock market. And today, this is where the beginning of SkyChip and the beginning of our tech journey in the Malaysian stock market. To understand the soul of SkyeChip, we must look back at its roots. The story begins with two visionaries, Dr. S.K. Fong and Mr. Tay Chi Hak. Both of them, SK and also Mr. Tay, left the comfort of tech giants. I was told that he has a lot of stock options, millions, but he made a decision to leave the comfort of being just an engineer, transform to be an engineer to an entrepreneur. And this is a remarkable journey and an inspiring one. With the grit of engineers who believe Malaysia could do more than just assembly parts. Through sheer hard work and strategic government support, SkyeChip has proven that Malaysia is no longer just a back-end player. We are now at the forefront of front-end design through SkyeChip. What truly sets SkyeChip apart is its global patent power. With over 100 international patents to its name, SkyeChip is making a significant impact. For decades, we were known for made in Malaysia. Today, SkyeChip is showing the world what it means to be made by Malaysia. This intellectual property is our tickets to high-income economy we envision. It is SK Fong, SkyeChip, and Mr. Tay. This is a great story of great engineers, and also a great story for great entrepreneurs. I think this is where Malaysia is looking at high-tech nation, great engineers who have created fantastic companies. We are looking SkyeChip. Hopefully one day they will become the Broadcom of Malaysia. The government wholeheartedly congratulates SkyeChip on this accomplishment. Your journey is the ultimate success story of our national semiconductor strategy. Under the NSS, Malaysia has set a bold target to establish 10 Malaysian companies with annual revenue of $1 billion and 100 companies with a revenue of 1 billion ringgit. So these are 10 and 100, 10 $1 billion companies, and also 1 billion ringgit companies. Looking at SkyeChip's trajectory, I'm very hopeful and very confident that SkyeChip will be among the leaders to help us reach that goal. And hopefully, eventually, you can reach the $10 billion mark.
To the nation's technological ambitions. And first, we are
the significant milestone in SkyeChip history as we take an important step forward to launch the IPO prospectus for upcoming main market listing on the 20th of May. The listing will elevate SkyeChip's status as a regional IC design company focused on high-performance computing and artificial intelligence within the semiconductor industry. What we are witnessing today is a beginning of the AI supercycle. For Malaysia to truly move up the value chain, our world-class back-end excellence that we have built over the last 50 years must now be matched with front-end IC design capability. We need to design, not just assembly and test manufacturing. SkyeChip was started because we had the Malaysia advantage. For 50 years, the global semiconductor MNCs that anchor in Malaysia train generations of our engineers on cutting-edge IC design. That talent basis is what makes today possible. The AI supercycle has created new demand for silicon IP and silicon products. SkyeChip has built a portfolio of high-performance interface IP, competes at the leading edge, covering HBM and LPDDR memory interface, our die-to-die UCIe interconnect IP, our network-on-chip IP and silicon products along edge AI applications, alongside our qualified access to advanced nodes foundry technology, a position held only by a handful of IC design companies in the region, and our custom ASIC design capability. These three pillars reinforce one another, and together they form the foundation of SkyeChip. Today, we have evolved into a global recognized IC design company with operations in Malaysia and Vietnam, serving customers across Asia Pacific and North America. Our role model is Broadcom, a company that has built global scale by combining cutting-edge silicon IP with custom ASIC solutions. We supply silicon IP, the design expertise, and the building blocks. Our customer supply the application, whether for data center, AI, and agentic AI-driven platforms, humanoid robots, or autonomous vehicles. Together, we bring together complementary strength to create solutions greater than what either could build alone. The aspiration I want to share with you today is simple. SkyeChip aims to be Broadcom of Malaysia. Ladies and gentlemen, in Silicon Valley, technology companies grow because they reward engineers with equity. So the engineers share in the success they help create. We want to replicate the model right here in Malaysia. By listing, we are telling every Malaysian engineer, you do not have to leave the country to build wealth. You can stay and you can own a piece of success that it have helped to build. With the fund raised from this IPO, we will invest in R&D and world-class talent, expand our IP portfolio, and develop the next generations of silicon products. Our use of proceeds is set out clearly in the prospectus. Our main market listing status gives us the credibility to engage with much larger customers. It demonstrates that we are transparent, well-governed, and here for the long term. We will use the status to serve larger contracts and also to expand our footprint at a global level. Our goal is clear. We want Malaysia to be the leading IC design hub in the region, and SkyeChip be a recognized player in the upstream global semiconductor ecosystem. We are echoing the government vision of Build by Malaysia and extend it to Design by Malaysia.
Three, two, one. Congratulations to SkyChip IPO on the successful launch of its Prospectus. Moment in time. The world.
At 88 cents per share and is expected to raise approximately 352 million in gross proceeds. And a significant portion of these proceeds will be allocated towards research and development, particularly in expanding the company's silicon intellectual property portfolio and custom ASIC solutions, supporting high-growth sectors such as AI, artificial intelligence, high-performance computing, and advanced data infrastructure. So before we begin, please allow me to introduce our panel for today's discussion. So we are honored to have with us Dr. Fong Sui Kiang, Non-Independent Executive Director and Chief Executive Officer of SkyChip IPO. Next, we have our partner, Mr. Raymond Choi, Managing Director, Regional Head, Equity Capital Markets of Maybank Investment Bank. Mr. Tay Chi Hao, Chief Technology Officer of SkyChip Berhad, and Mr. Galvin Wong, Finance Director of SkyChip Berhad. So to all our members of the media, before the questions, just a heads up to all of you that if you do have a question, please raise a hand and our team will bring the microphone to you. Please also state your name and the organization you represent before asking your question. If it's applicable, you can also direct your question to the relevant panelists. So we're going to open the floor for some Q&A. Can we have our first question? Can we have the first question? Anyone? Members of media are humble today, huh? So, do you have a microphone?
Hi. Is it work? Maybe. Hi, I'm Jocelyn from The Edge. Congratulations on the launch of your prospectus today. I'm sure you've been buzzing. Would you be able to just share your thoughts on why it's important for you to list now? And also, my other question is, how come there is no offer for sale?
When we started SkyChips, we started from day one that we'll be going for IPO. Right? And the reason is very simple. First of all, is that being a listed company, you will show the potential client, especially the big one. Like, this company is transparent, this company has done all the due diligence, and this company is here to stay. Right? So having the status, especially as a listed main board companies, will give us a higher platform to capture bigger accounts. Right? So that's one. But the other equally important is that we believe in the Silicon Valley model. Right? So in the Silicon Valley, there's stories after stories, and in the last 50 years of the Silicon, you always heard about this team worked very hard, right? They started a company, and then they share the success of the company. Right? So this is a way for us to not only reward the pioneer team who have helped us to achieve what we achieve today, but it's also to attract talents, not only Malaysian talents, but global talents, so that we can even going for bigger business, right? So the equity itself, when you combine with the cash rewards, it is actually a perfect marriage. Right? You are no longer just earning a paycheck, but you are also building wealth for yourself through the stock that you're holding. Right? So that's the second reason. Right? And the third reason will be, we can see the Broadcom model. Right? Being a listed company, you can actually tap into the capital markets, and that will allow you to have the flexibility or the ability to do potential acquisition or to bring in new companies or to invest in a company that's promising.
Now, why is how come there was no decision to put on offer for sale of existing shares?
Okay. Actually, I have to give up, just now as YB Sim said, I have to give up a lot of shares that I'm holding in Broadcom, right? So the first objective is really we want to make the company successful, and not offering for sales is actually a testimony that the founder, we really believe in what we are doing, right? And we believe that we are not here to make a quick money, right? We are here to continue to bring more success to the company. And also to our team, they can see that, hey, my manager is still like me, right? Working together and not even cash out a single share. So that also sent a very strong signal to our team. So we are with them.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pong, for sharing the strategic rationale behind the listing. I think we have the next question.
Good morning and congratulations, Dato, on the launch. I have one question regarding the Mars 1000 chip that you launched back in August.
Yeah.
As Malaysia's first locally designed AI processor, what has the market response been like since the launch, and have you secured any commercial interest or pilot deployments?
So this MAS 1000 is actually designed in partnerships with our partners. Right? So we split the market into two. Right? So the success in the other market has been very good, and for us, we are waiting to launch it, and hopefully very soon you will see some actions along this way.
Are you confident that it will contribute a lot to the company's revenue, or
It's hard to quantify a lot, right? Because we have a very balanced business. Right? You can see that we have been growing very healthily along the silicon IP business, right? So growing along the silicon products is definitely one of our directions, right? So we will not actually define which one will be the priority and which one should be the focus. We'll continue to focus on these two tracks.
I just have one more question. Since this is considered the largest semiconductor IPO in ASEAN, is it possible to get the names of some of the major investors in the company's IPO?
Maybe I can.
Yeah, maybe for
help,
cornerstone.
There are 22 cornerstone investors. I believe they are all been listed in the prospectus. You can check out the names in that section.
Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Do we have the next question?
Hi, Mr. Fong. Good
Yeah.
afternoon. Lillian from Mr. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Just to ask, given Malaysia's push into semiconductor, I mean, do you view initiatives like the ARM and CSS deal as essential for local companies to scale, or can firms just build competitive positions independently? And on that note, just to clarify your current status with the CSS platform, have you secured full access, and if not, what condition or risk remain at this juncture?
Okay. So it's a very good question, right? So we view the CSS as a very positive move by the government, right? Because a CSS IP license cost is not cheap, right? So if you ask me, do we started SkyeChip because of CSS? You know it's not, right? So we have built without a CSS in the last 6 years, and through our own silicon IP and through our expansion into the silicon products. Right. So the most important thing I would say is that no matter whether the CSS or no CSS, it's very important that we have three key factors that we need to consider. First is, do you have the talent? Right. The secondly is, do you have the technology? And thirdly is, do you have the market? Right. So our success in the last 5 years proved that we do have the talent, and we can grow the talent. And we do have the technology that is directly linked to AI and high performance computing. And also we have a market. Right? Our market is not only limited, there's no local market. We're actually playing at a global level. Right? So CSS is definitely a boost to our positioning.
But just to ask from the sector perspective, I think just to get a better understanding, is the deal crucial for Malaysia to launch pad into the front end, or is this just we can have it, but we can also not have it in that sense?
I think it's very hard to comment. I think every company, every startup will have their own business strategy. Right? What I can tell you is only the SkyeChip strategy. Right? For SkyeChip, we believe in two things. We believe we must have our own IP, right? And after you have your own IP, not only you can license it, but you can also use it to build your own products. And from the fact that you have your own IP, it created a differentiation and also a competitive edge for us to play into the silicon product business. Right? Like I said just now in the launching ceremony, our role model is Broadcom. Right? And if you study the Broadcom business model, you will know that they do have their strategic IP. Right? So I cannot comment on how this CSS will help other companies because different business model. Right? I think each of them will have their idea and strategy.
Sorry, just one more question from me. Mr. Fong, just to ask, is it okay for the company to share with us who is the company picking to produce the chip paid for the CSS? I mean, if name cannot be revealed, just to ask, what is the company looking for in a manufacturer? Like, what kind of criteria are you looking at?
Okay. Yeah, you already know that I cannot disclose. Right? Even if I want to disclose, I would say we haven't finalized it. Right? So, but I can give you a generic guide rails on how we have to position the fabrication part of our CSS-based products. Because the CSS-based product, as you all know, is a very, very high-end CPU. Right? You need to pair with the very high-end process technology. Right? So not only high-end, but you also need to have a complete ecosystem. Right? When I say ecosystem, means that you can manufacture it, but do you have enough building blocks for you to build a chips? Right? And thirdly is, do you have the cost advantage? So we'll look into how advanced is a process technology, which is mainly considering how to compete in the market, right? Then the secondly is how mature or how complete is the ecosystem for us to build a chip. And thirdly, of course, is the cost performance of that process nodes, right? So we'll consider all these three, and hopefully we can nail down the decisions soon.
Please.
Hi, Kiran from The Edge. I think I just wanted to ask, so, being one of the biggest semicon IPO, how do you see the ecosystem in Malaysia to continue your journey? Because you have a presence in Penang, started in Penang, have a presence in Selangor, Sarawak is wants a stake in the semicon game. How do you see that growing?
Okay. I think we are in the right time. That's why I mentioned about you need to talent, you need to have the technology, you need a market, right? I forgot to mention one thing. You need to have the government support, right? So we are very happy that to see increased initiative over the last 6 years on how government actually is planning to come up with different strategies to support the semiconductor industry. I think since all of you are in the press, I think you know more than me all the program that has been put in place. Okay, thank you for the questions. Actually, when you look at the spending and also the segment that we are targeting, we know the directions. Means that our direction, as actually shown in the prospectus, is the custom compute AI accelerator hardware. Right? And if you look at the segment and the nature of the segment, it pretty much determined by our system partner or our system customer. So we'll maintain the flexibility and make sure that we support and align to the customer need. Right? So you ask me, do I have a target? I rather say is that we do have a target customer or target market segment. But for the products, we keep it flexible and we keep it adaptive to what it help to take the customer to win.
I want to touch on the kind of some strategies that you're looking to offer for potential shareholders. The PE ratio is about 44, which is some analysts may say is a little bit high. So would you be able to comment on that?
Sure. So as usual, in terms of pricing for IPOs, typically the market will look at the potential of the company moving forward in the next 1-2 years especially. And given where the company's trajectory is, I think there's a very promising outlook for its growth. And the company is still at a very young stage at this point in time. So it is better to be looking at on a forward basis, and that's where generally the institutional investors have been looking at. And we have taken into account that feedback, and that's why the IPO has been priced accordingly.
I understand that that you've got about 110 patents across China, Malaysia, and US. Are there any targets moving forward for this year for new patents? Because the bulk of the proceeds are going to research and design. Do you have a target in mind?
We always have a target, right? The rate of the patent filing must be higher than our last year, right? But how to execute it will depend on our CTO, right? But he have not been disappointed me, right? So you can be assured that we will be continue to file patents. Right? In fact, our bonus scheme, our annual performance bonus, have a KPI for the senior technical staff whether they file any patents.
And seeing as, I actually want to ask, so when are you planning to set up the sales office in Tokyo and US as per your prospectus? And how is SkyeChip going to navigate any trade tariffs or any sanctions, and of course, foreign exchange problems that might arise from that?
I think we do have a plan to set up sales office and also R&D office as what was described in the prospectus, right? And then how we navigate all the political and currency. I think it's well described in the prospectus, right? So you can take a look. Right?
Sorry, when are you planning to set up the new sales office in Tokyo and US?
We are working on it. There's no specific timeline, but mainly it will be driven by when we see a demand or there's some emergence of a strategic customer, then we'll be consider setting it up. The most important thing is not whether we will set up a sales office, but the most important thing is how can we support our customer in the most efficient manner. I think that's the key.
My question is on the PE as well. Because the PE of 44 times is based on financial year end March 31st, 2025, but if we use financial year end March 31st, 2026, can you give us a gauge of how the PE is going to be based on offer price? Is it going to be an undemanding 30 plus PE or?
So there is an interim results in practice. I think that's what on a 7-month basis. So if you analyze that could translate to 30 times, but that's on an analyzed basis. I think the actual number could differ, but again, as mentioned, the company's growth is promising. So I think that will probably be your latest gauge in terms of the multiples. But given that the growth is going to be quite strong, so then the multiples should be lower.
Mr. Raj, just to ask on the R&D investment that you are expected to do based on the prospectus, when is the expected timeline for it to meaningfully contribute to revenue and margins? When do you see it?
Okay. Yeah. So if you look at SkyeChip's product portfolio, we have a mix of silicon IP and also silicon products. And then even among the silicon IP and the silicon products, there's silicon IP that we do new development. Like for example, if you take the HBM from HBM3E to HBM4, it's considered new development. Right? But if you take a HBM3E from one process technology to another process technology, there's a porting. Right? So depending on the complexity of the design, the time to commercialization will differ. Right? So for complex chip, it may take 2 years, for example, right? For a simple chip, it may take 18 months. So it's very hard to give you just one number. Right? It depends on the complexity of the chip and also the nature of the development.
I just have one more additional question regarding the fabrication partner for the chip. I understand that the company cannot disclose your partner, but is it possible to get a confirmation on whether you have secured a company or you are still in the midst of thinking it through?
Fabrication partners?
The manufacturing partner for the chip.
Oh, okay. What I can say is that it's not easy. In fact, it's super difficult to have access to advanced process technology, right? And SkyeChip is very fortunate. From day one of our formations, we already have the support of some advanced foundry.
So can we get a confirmation?
Just look at my smile.
Thank you.
Thank you, but we're determined and dedicated for that, okay? So I think we have another question from my left-hand side.
Thank you, Dato'. Hopefully, this is going to be a successful IPO and shareholders are going to be happy. My question is twofold. One is the sector. You have successfully built so far a good and strong IC design company based in Malaysia. So in that journey, do you wish for a much better policy support from government? So because they are pushing for our value chain to increase, right? So that in the future, there's going to be more SkyChip in Malaysia. So what else can be done to promote this ecosystem? Number two, I'm going to follow up on the R&D part, which is very important. You're going to spend 60% of the IPO money on R&D, and I think that speaks volume about your confidence in terms of your own manpower and talent.
Yeah.
But how to measure this concretely? First, are we going to see more headcount and maybe a lot more PPE increase before those going to translate to a tangible earnings? Okay, thank you.
So maybe I'll answer the first questions and then let my financial directors to provide more contrast to your questions, right? So I think I have been traveling quite extensively, right? To China, to Vietnam, to Taiwan, to Korea, of course US, and then even to Sri Lanka, right? And what I can say is that we are quite grateful to what Malaysia government has done, right? But whether is it like the nirvana stage, I think of course nothing is perfect, right? Of course there will be things to learn, and there's always a benchmark that we can continue to improve, right? Overall, the reason that we can start up SkyChip is because of the government support. Like what else can I ask, right? But if you look at what else can be improved in Malaysia beyond the government, it will be like we hope to see more private equity fund or venture capitalists that are willing to invest in an emerging but very promising sector in IC design.
I don't think capital is our problem because we have a strong institutional and many rich people as well.
Yeah.
But more importantly, in terms of human capital, talent, whether Malaysian talent can actually compete at regional stage at least, because SkyChip get all the good talent already. Maybe it's bottleneck there. Can you comment a bit more on that?
Okay. Malaysia have a sizable populations, right? We have about 30 million of mainly young populations, right? So I would say that for a country of this size, we cannot compete with China, right? Or maybe even like India, of course, right? But we still can carve out our niche, right? Like the Swiss watchmaker, right? You don't need a very big populations, but if you focus and you achieve excellence, you can have your own niche market, right? And this market is so huge. So the key thing is focusing and also be good at what you're focusing at. Right? And you ask me, do Malaysia have enough talent? I will say that we do have a strong foundation thanks to the 50 years of investment and technology transfer from MNC like Intel, Broadcom, AMD, you name it. Right? So what we are lacking or what we can see improving is to have more students taking up courses in electronics, electrical, computer engineering. Right? But that encouragement have to come not only from the parent, but the industry also owe that to themselves. Right? If you are paying sufficiently high pay, it's a direct draw, right? For those students say, when I graduated, right, I can enjoy the top tier pay among the engineers. That itself will steer whether they'll take courses in accountancy or they'll take courses in IC design. Right? So I would say we have enough populations, but we need to focus. And then in order for us to attract a focused effort and willingness to go into this field, we need to make sure that the salary range is attractive. Right? And that's what SkyeChip is focusing in.
I think to take your use of proceeds question, if you look at our prospectus, we have budgeted about 16% for development of IP, about 44% for development of silicon products. And in the prospectus, we've also laid out that this will be a combination of recruitment of technical staff, as well as spending on mass SAM prototypes to support those R&D operations. So that's the 60% I think a few of you have called out. But beyond that, if you look at the details, we are spending another 10% on EDA tools and also another 11% of compute infrastructure. All this is to support our R&D operations. Yeah.
The CSS program, just to be sure, have you gotten it or have you not gotten it yet? Just to be very sure.
To answer you correctly, right? You probably have seen some announcement where I shake hands with Tunku Zafru, right? So is that considered a given or not given, right?
So you have received the token, you're working on
We have received the offer, and we're still working on some of the details with the government to make sure that both parties are aligned, right?
I think you can review our prospectus, and specifically there we've disclosed that we have received a letter of approval, but we are reviewing the terms and conditions.
Yeah.